The only thing I really enjoyed out of life was being able to perform for my friends who wrestled dark matches. And JAP started their web show called Worldwide. It was July of '04. They were scrambling to find someone to wrestle B-Boy. He just was like, I want to wrestle this guy. It was unbelievable. Pretty crazy to know that the two champions before me, Jushin Thunder Liger and Kenny Omega, being in the ring with Gresham made me understand what a true artist looks like. I got a phone call one night, so it was me and Red against the SAT. Jordan is one of the people that has always kept up with me. He's an artist in the ring. I enjoy doing something outside of the box. My favorite match that I've ever had is against TJ Blade. Reefer has been my most frequent opponent. The move itself?
Yeah.
Oh, it's stolen.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I've been telling this guy how pumped I am for this one. Archadia, man, thank you so much for joining me for this one.
Of course, I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited. Now, I know you've done a few, but briefly, I'm curious. You're an innovator. I say it all the time, but I'm curious for you. What was it about pro wrestling that ignited that fire for you?
Well, originally, or you mean like just joining? You like
Join pro wrestling. What was it about it that you wanted to take part of?
I think, there's always that deep-rooted love for it growing up. I guess my brother and I really didn't get along, and the only time we would bond was when we would like mess around and pretend to be wrestlers. So I guess I was just drawn to it as a kid. And then in high school, a bunch of us kind of just started hanging out and performing moves on each other, and then eventually turned into like our own basement / backyard wrestling league. And then it just kind of snowballed and steamrolled. And when I was 16, we contacted a local promoter on AOL and offered to sell tickets. And he was like, yeah, why not? I guess, carny promoters back in the day, they would just, any kid that would promise to sell tickets, they would give them an opportunity to do it. So, it started with my brother and I kind of messing around, and then it kind of molded itself into friends messing around, and then it turned into, I could probably do this in front of like actual people.
Nice. When did you finally decide it was time that you can actually do it in front of actual people?
Well, it wasn't really me who did. I mean, we had been putting on theatrical like shows in our friend's backyard for close to 2 or 3 years at the time. And when I mean theatrical, it was business-like. We were 15 and 16, but we didn't cut the camera. We had a script, like we had music playing. We had a pool deck that the camera was shooting on. Like it was, legit stuff for 15 and 16-year-olds in 1999, for us to be able to do. I would borrow. I took a video production class in high school, and we would borrow the camera from that class to film, our backyard wrestling shows.
Wow.
So it was pretty legit from the start. I mean, when did I actually think that I could do it in front of a live crowd? I don't know. I still don't think I ever made that conscious decision to do it. It just kind of happened, and I just rolled with it.
I'm curious for you to talk about high school using the camera. What was your plan post high school? Was pro wrestling like the number one thing you wanted to do?
I mean, I guess I told people that I wanted to, but I don't think I ever really understood the drive necessary to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess as a high school kid, I was just like kind of lost in the shuffle of what am I going to do with myself? And the only thing I really enjoyed out of life was being able to perform for my friends.
Nice.
And I guess performance was what I was interested in. And then I was so in love with wrestling itself that's where it manifested. The performance kind of came through in the wrestling.
When we talk about high school and college, it's crazy for me because in college I'm watching some JAPW matches. So thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm curious for you. What is like the inspiration behind Arcadia, the name in pro wrestling? Was this your name back in the backyard too?
It was,
Okay.
but I didn't come up with it. The guy who ran our backyard promotion, his name was Steve Toth.
Hmm.
I actually debuted in his Extreme Wrestling Federation as the Mystery Man.
Okay.
And then for a couple weeks, I didn't have a name. And then he AOL instant messaged me one night and said, "What do you think of this?" And I was like, "I've never heard of that before." And he said,
Yeah.
"Well, it's Latin and it means like next to godly." And I was like, "All right, sounds cool."
Wow.
So he came up with the name, and then I agreed with it, and then I just kind of ran with it. So I've been Arcadia for for 25 years, so
Wow.
longer than that,
Yeah.
26 years since
That's
I was
good.
15 years old.
Wow. When you look at your career, your resume keeps going, but I'm curious for you. How does the idea come for teaming as Disease start?
So we so I don't know if you know who's in the
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, so it's Grim from GTS was one of my first tag team partners. So we kind of got thrown together. He had his own backyard wrestling promotion and I had my own, and we both kind of found um this independent promotion called EWA Empire Wrestling Alliance, that was ran by Ron Post and Dynamic B, or Billy Ravel.
Yeah.
Um, and we kind of had our own groups, but then we were two of the people who were kind of like outside looking in our specific groups. Like we
Yeah.
didn't have like so we the group that I broke through with, there was four or five of us, and only three of us really stuck it out, and two of them decided to team together. So I was kind of like the odd man out.
Mhm.
And then same thing with Grim. He was in this group, and then they all kind of stopped showing up, and he was the only one left.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, why don't we kind of team together? So we just got kind of thrown together.
What is Disease like? What was the inspiration behind that?
So we were like, emo goth. So
Okay.
and we only teamed like two or three times
Yeah.
as the so we didn't really have a long run.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember um why we stopped teaming together. I honestly don't remember. It's been 20, 25 25
Yeah.
years or so.
I'm curious from your perspective, how does your opportunity for JAPW start?
So I had been doing National Wrestling Superstars, which was run by Dapper Johnny
Hmm.
and Gino Moore. And that's really all that I was doing. I mean, EWA was kind of back and forth. Sometimes they were running, sometimes they weren't. And then NWS, I kind of broke through, same way I did with EWA. Was kind of like you meet a promoter, you say, "Hey, I'm a wrestler. I can sell tickets in my hometown," and then they're like, "All right, cool," and then they just keep you on.
Yeah.
So like if you're good enough, they like what you do, then they just keep using you. Um, and at the time, I really wasn't doing much of anything worthy of note. But I had been part of a backyard wrestling group that included Eric Corvus. Back then, he was Corvus Fear, and he and I and two other people went to a Ring of Honor show in Elizabeth, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and the promoters from JAP were there, and Corvus trained at JAP, so they came up to him and said, "Hey, can you flyer the parking lot?" And then he told the promoters, "Hey, my friend is here. He's also a wrestler. He'll help me, flyer the parking lot. And do you mind like giving him a shot at the next show?" So the following show, I went, and it was the 7th anniversary show.
Hmm.
The main event was Azrael versus Jay Lethal in a ladder match. I sat in the crowd because they didn't have anything for me. Um, and then the following show, it was a Halloween, so it was October of 2004.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2004.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, come, we got something." So we did a dark match. So before the show even started, it was me versus Corvus Fear, who was at the time doing Hip Hop Overflow as his gimmick.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Him and Rush Margera were a tag team, but Rush kind of like backed away, didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
So we wrestled dark matches, and then the next couple months it was dark match against Cheech and Cloudy, which were up in smoke, and then I did a dark match against Eric Stevens, who was a Roderick Strong student. He turned out to be a pretty big name on the indies.
Yeah.
And then I did, I think, one more dark match, but then JAP started their web show called Worldwide, which they had a filming at ECPW school. So Lake Hiawatha, Gino Caruso ran a school. Runs a school in ECPW, and they did a show there. So I was like very much enhancement talent.
Yeah.
Like it was, Havoc and Papadon. I don't know if you know who they
are.
Oh
yeah.
they were in a tag team, and I had my first JAP match on Worldwide was a 2-minute squash, like a 30-second squash to Havoc.
Wow.
It was literally like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Done.
How long you enhancement talent for?
A couple, probably like 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
And then I did a show because at the same time I was doing that, I had gotten into now it's Ace, but then it was AWA. I had also got into there, and I started getting kind of pushed there, and the JAP promoters and some of the mainstays in JAP would also work those Ace shows, and they saw me there, and they were like, oh, well, this kid's got some talent.
Yeah.
So they started teaming me and Nino Capone together, which we were Ace guys, or AWA guys. And then we started feuding with the H Effect.
Okay.
Which was Deranged, Dixie, Insane Dragon. So we started feuding with them because it was like kind of, the established lightweights versus like these new lightweights coming in.
Yeah.
And they actually gave us a showcase match at the ECW arena. There was 6 of us AWA guys. It was Mike Donovan, who's Pro Wrestling Magic.
Yeah.
Titan Championship Wrestling. So he was there. This guy, Champolin Negro, who was a Mexican wrestler. Pinky Sanchez, Nino Capone, me, and a guy named Ozzy Envy, who had all the talent in the world and then just kind of like faded out and never really did anything. Same thing with Nino. Nino was, super talented and just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
So I had all these like weird like chances to make a name. And I was getting a little bit of buzz, but nothing crazy. Like no one was really like, no one was paying to see me. They were just kind of like, hey, we noticed that this guy's on the show. And then it was July of 04. I got a spot on the mat. It was supposed to be me and Nino Capone versus the H Effect. Actually, you know what? I think it was supposed to be against the Outcast Killers. So I think it was supposed to be me and Nino versus the Outcast Killers. And it was scheduled to be B-Boy versus M-Dog or Matt Cross.
Yeah.
And M-Dog didn't make his flight, didn't show up. So they were scrambling to find someone to wrestle B-Boy. And B-Boy, who had, I guess, seen me on prior shows doing like dark matches, or he just was like, I want to wrestle this guy.
Nice.
And that's it.
Wow. And how was that match with B-Boy?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I think I was too, like, if I were to go back with the mindset that I have now to that match, I probably would have been too nervous or too scared to do it. But I was a 20-year-old kid who didn't know any better. So I didn't know to be nervous. Like, I didn't understand the gravity of the situation. Like I knew, this is crazy. I'm in this major match, but I don't think I ever, at least in the moment, understood, the I guess the weight of that match. And it came off so good. And I remember Alicia being in the crowd, because we were a group in AWA and in NWS. We were the ANA Super Friends. And I remember coming back, and she was like, dude, you made it now. Like that's all you needed to do, and now everyone knows who you are.
Yeah. So when you look at
that would happen.
When you look at your career, when I was watching Respect the Craft, right, he said, I'll attest to it, maybe probably the greatest JAPW Light Heavyweight Champion. But for you, I'm curious, what does that mean for you? Like knowing the lineage and to finally win that championship.
I think it's pretty crazy to know that, the two champions before me
Yeah.
were Jushin Thunder Liger and
Yeah.
Kenny Omega, right? Like
Nuts.
that's
Yeah.
insane. So for me, I used to like going back to what we were talking about, with my hanging out with my brother, and
Yeah.
we would like pretend to be certain wrestlers. Like I would pretend to be Jushin Thunder Liger. Like that was one of my favorite wrestlers. So just to
Yeah.
know that, I'm mentioned in the same conversation when it comes to the championships being held, that means everything to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Is there a match from being the New Jersey State champ that sticks out to you?
so the NJ State Championship is, I guess, different than the Light Heavyweight Championship,
Yeah.
right? So when I was the NJ State champion, um, they retired the NJ State Championship and then turned it back into the
Yeah.
Light
Light
Heavyweight Championship.
heavyweight. Yeah.
So if we're keeping that together, like as part of the package,
Yeah.
um, I really loved my match with Jonathan Gresham,
Nice.
that we had. I know he's dealing with some issues right now. I heard, he medically he was. So I wish him nothing but the best. But I think being in the ring with Gresham made me understand what a true artist looks like in the ring. Like he 100%. I mean, you can name all the people that I've ever been in the ring with,
Yeah.
right? Jonathan Gresham, hands down, is the best person I've ever been in the ring with.
Wow. Nice.
Just that he had such a command for, and such a relaxed command for being in the ring. It was, it was like being in there with a master.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah. When you look at your career, what would you consider like your first big opportunity?
Probably that B-boy match.
Yeah.
The match getting that opportunity. I think there were a lot of opportunities that led me to get that opportunity.
Okay.
But once I got that match, once I wrestled B-boy, it felt like the faucet was turned on. Like I was getting calls to go wrestle for Pro Wrestling Unplugged.
No, yeah.
Cashmere and
He was talking about you today. I told him I was having you on.
Yeah, so they were one of the first ones to bring me out to Philly.
Nice.
And then, it gave me NWA Cyberspace. Like I got a phone call one night and it was, hey, Grim Reaper's hurt, can't wrestle, so we need a tag team partner for the Amazing Red. So it was me and Red against the SAT.
Yeah.
Why am I in that match? Like when I go back and think about that, you know what I mean? Like as a 21-year-old kid, why am I in that match? Like that's crazy. Driving there, I was like, this is insane. Like why I'm going to go team with Red? Like this is crazy.
When you look at your career, there's two matches I want to ask you about. I see the Facebook, Instagram post, but I'm curious for you. Anything stands out wrestling Jordan Oliver?
Is there anything that stands out about wrestling Jordan?
Or if you have any stories or anything wrestling him?
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't say stories, but an overall. So people who have been in wrestling and then have left wrestling always talk about this idea that, once you leave, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like once you're out of wrestling, nobody really talks to you much anymore. Because I guess wrestling is such a grind that while you're doing it, you're only really talking to the people that you see every week, or you see every couple of weeks. And Jordan is one of the people that since the beginning of his career has always kept up with me and always asked me. Like I've taken long, leaves from wrestling where it's been like 2 years and then I come back, I wrestle a few matches, then I leave for another 2 years, I come back, I wrestle a few matches. And Jordan has been someone in my life that has always kind of, at least made me feel like he cares about what's going on in my life outside of wrestling.
Nice.
And it's very rare that you get people like that in your life. So in terms of wrestling, there's very few people that try to reinvent themselves and keep what they're doing fresh. Like I've been doing the same moves for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever watched a Jordan Oliver match where he hasn't tried something new
Mm.
or done something different or moved his body a different way to just kind of feel like it just you can. And I guess because I make sure I'm watching his stuff,
Yeah.
I notice that he is always trying to be better and trying to be creative. And, like that's what I love about watching Jordan wrestle is that he is in love with the challenge,
Yeah.
challenge of making himself better every time he's in the ring.
Yeah. When you talk about you in the ring, anything stands out wrestling Lio Rush?
Yeah, Leo. And speaking of artists, Leo is definitely one of those
Yeah.
guys where he's an artist in the ring, but he's also an artist in many ways. He's
Yeah.
doing all sorts of things. I was super nervous about wrestling Leo, and because there was such this hype around him when we wrestled. We had been in the ring before together in a 6-way best of
Yeah.
light heavyweights in
Yeah.
JAP, but I didn't know him then.
Mhm.
And then once we booked the match for Violence and Suffering for the JAP title, um, there at that time he was at the top of his game. Like he was the guy. He was like
Yeah.
the indie guy. So I remember being super nervous about wrestling him, and I just remember how easy it was. Like with Gresham, same thing where you don't know anyone or you don't know these guys, and then you meet them and you're supposed to go out there and put your bodies on the line with each other. Like you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
met each other 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And Gresham, it took a long time for him to like kind of warm up.
Mhm.
Like I feel like he was very calculated about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. And by the time we got to the end of what we were gonna do,
Yeah.
he was like excited and into
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Earn it. Yeah.
and Leo was kind of like that from maybe like 3 or 4 minutes in. He was like,
Okay.
"Oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that." But some of these guys, when they're operating in this mode always where it's business,
Mhm.
it's hard for them to like get super excited about what they're doing because they're just kind of going through like, all right, well, I do this, I do that, I do
Yeah.
this. But it was fun I mean, Leo, again, I was nervous and it kind of came out very well. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my match with him. Violence and Suffering, I really enjoyed my match with Marq Quen. I don't know if
Nice.
you were able to see that too.
Yeah.
Um, we did a little dance break, which was fantastic. I'm always, again, same thing I just said about Jordan. I'm always trying to do something new, but I enjoy doing something outside of the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like with the Leo match, we did like the Randy Orton spot where he did the RKO and they went up to the top and he did the pose. With Marq Quen, we had like a dance battle.
Yeah.
Like I just enjoy doing more performative than just the wrestling itself.
Yeah. Is there a UWA match that stands out to you?
Yeah, there's a few. I think there's a few matches that stand out for different reasons.
Okay.
So I think emotionally and story wise, my favorite match that I've ever had is against TJ Blade. It was the first event of the year. It was they call it setting the standard. It was January of 2017.
Okay.
It was on TJ's birthday, which
Okay.
made it better. So the crowd's singing happy birthday to him,
Okay. Yeah.
which is not the only, that's the second time someone had gotten happy birthday sung to them while I'm standing in the ring about to wrestle them. The other one was Bandito Jr. in Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I hated. Well, I was a heel, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
It made it easier for me because now they like him. But it was on the heels of Dynamite Davis passing away
Okay.
a few months earlier. So it was the first UWA show back after Dynamite Davis had passed away. And TJ Blade was his partner. They were in a group together.
Yeah.
So emotionally, the crowd was very emotional about it. TJ was very emotional, like the entire locker room was very emotional. And I think that we kind of used that emotion to go out there and perform to the best of our abilities. And
Nice.
both of us had, probably the best showing that either of us have ever had. We told a great story. The crowd was really into it. And, like it was with, my best friend in wrestling. So it was awesome.
Yeah. Were you
And
guys best friends then too?
we were good friends. I don't think we were best. I think we've grown together. We were gym, like we went to the gym together every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We kind of grew to, because I don't know if you know, TJ Blade was a cameraman for Jersey All Pro.
I didn't know that. No, yeah.
Yeah, so he would follow around Modtrom and he would do it, and he edited and put together a lot of the worldwide clips and stuff. So he had a big hand in creating a lot of the production stuff at Jersey All Pro. And
Wow.
he was young; he was like 16,
Yeah.
and his brother Brandon the Bull, or BT Bull
Oh
now,
yeah.
he was a big fan of JAP, would be in the crowd. Like, so if you watch JAP shows, you'll see them in the crowd
Yeah.
every time. But TJ Blade had been involved in that, so I knew who he was.
Mhm.
And then when UWA Elite started, he joined it, and we kind of reconnected, or at least had that kind of JAP kinship.
Yeah.
And then from there, it kind of just developed. We wrestled each other in 2011, and then we wrestled each other in 2012, and then when I came back to UWA in 2015, we didn't really wrestle each other much, and then 2017 is when we got back to it, and then we wrestled twice in 2017. So we had 4 UWA matches,
Yeah.
and if I had to put together a top 10 total of all of matches I've ever had,
Yeah.
3 of those 4 would be in my top 10,
Wow.
because he's got a mind that is easy to work with. He's loves telling stories, like he's a student of the game,
Mhm.
and he's just fun to work with. Like,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm at my best, when I'm having fun calling the matches, because to me that's the best part of wrestling.
Yeah.
The worst part of wrestling for me sometimes is actually going out and having to do it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like putting it together and coming up with ideas and working with someone on creating things, like
Mhm.
that's the best part.
Wow. So I know some people are iffy about it. I'm curious for you. What does it mean to you when you got inducted for the UWA Hall of Fame?
um
Because
when
you have accomplished so much there.
Right, well, I mean, I think my induction into the UWA Elite Hall of Fame was more about, again, like for anyone who's going to watch this, and for you in general, what you need to understand about UWA Elite is that it operates within its own like bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because from the outside looking in, people would be like, well, why does this random indie fed have a Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For UWA, like, it started in 2000,
Mhm.
99, 2001, in that time period, and some of the people that were there in 2000 are still there in 2025.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
25 years of history. And UWA is not like a normal indie fed where you're like booking people to come in, and
Mhm.
like it's literally a group of friends who enjoy wrestling and want to put shows on together.
Okay.
It's not like any indie fed I've ever been a part of, because
Yeah.
it's honestly more about the group of people you're doing it with than it is about like just trying to put a show on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it is that, like, think about your local theater group, and
Mhm.
every spring and fall they have a performance, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's about the group. It's not about,
Yeah.
right. So for UWA, it's always been about the group of people that are doing it, and
Mhm.
not about like, because we want to be a successful, a crazy on TV. Like, that's never been the goal for UWA. The goal for UWA has always been to have a professional wrestling company where you are with your friends and the people that you like, the people that started UWA. I would say there's only like maybe 3 or 4 of them left
Okay.
that are there.
Yeah.
But, like me and the guy he's a commentator now, Cypress, Kyle, Wynant,
Yeah.
KTB, his older brother Dan, his older
Okay.
brother Dave, Sean Damage McNellis, King Tech. They've all been together since 2000,
Wow.
2001, 2000.
Yeah.
Tech and Sean are 2003. They came in and joined it, but like for the last 20 to 25 years, there's been a solid group of 10 to 15 people that have done this together.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Hall of Fame, we're talking about more of like, it's
Yeah.
for us. It's not for the yes, the fans. I mean, I guess some of them get into it and enjoy it,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's more about it's for us.
Yeah.
Like, and it always has been like that, where it's always been about us and doing things for us.
I gotta ask, how is your memory so good with this? Remembering the matches and the years and all this? Because some people in pro wrestling, like, they can't remember the last match they ever had.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always been able to remember opponents and dates and time. Like I can remember specific spots that I did
Wow.
in specific matches with specific people from 25 years ago. It's just it's just how my brain works. I don't
Yeah.
know.
When we talk creativity, I'm curious, what is the inspiration behind Holy Death?
The move itself,
Yeah.
oh, it's stolen.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I stole
You
it
don't
from a
see it
guy.
much though.
No, I know. Well, I stopped doing it. So when I got into JAP and started doing indie stuff, a lot of the guys that I backyarded with, none of them ever just wanted to wrestle indie stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, if that person's never going to wrestle in on an indie promotion, I'm just going to take their moves and
Yeah.
do them as shout outs to them,
Yeah.
selfishly and also friendly.
Yeah.
So there was a wrestler by the name of G-Paz, which that name has not been in my brain for a very long time.
Wow.
And he used to do that move. So it's a double back hook and then scoop up, wrap,
Yeah.
tuck, and then down to the knees. Yeah, that was his move. He did it. And that was more of a shout out to him
Yeah.
than
When we
anything.
talk about your career, you mentioned Johnny Cashman and PW, but I'm curious for you, what does it mean for you? Because the year you were in, it was stacked, and I forgot how the matches were to be in the Acid Cup.
Yeah, so well, PWU, I was in like 04, 05, but the Acid Cup was
Yeah,
20.
that was GCW, but like the Backseat Boys you've known for a while and all that.
Right. Well, so I didn't really know Trent
Okay.
as much. Like, I mean, by the time that I really broke through, he was kind of already
Yeah.
struggling with a few
Okay.
things. The only real memory I have of him is not really a great one.
Okay.
And I know a lot of my friends really, care about him or cared about him
Yeah.
and cared about his legacy. But, like I just, I can't relate to a lot of what other people saw because I didn't see him that way.
Yeah, it was a different
Never,
time when you were seeing him.
I
Yeah.
never did. And I don't think I can't remember a time there where I ever really even had like a full conversation with Trent Acid. Like
Okay.
I was on a lot of shows with him,
Yeah.
but we just never kind of mingled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kashmir was really the brain behind PWU, and he's the one that booked me for that. I mean, actually, a guy who was working production for them
Mhm.
was my contact and would be like, "Hey, they want you for this," or "Hey, they want you for that."
Nice. Yeah.
So I really didn't even talk to Johnny that much back then. Like
Okay.
I just didn't. I didn't. And
Yeah.
I honestly like when I saw him. I saw him like 2 or 3 years ago at a show, and he was like, "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? You look great." And I was like, "Oh, I don't even know you knew who I was." Yeah, and he was like, "Of course I know who you are." And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
okay." Because and it's weird. I'm always the person who never thinks anyone remembers who they are. So like
Yeah.
that's just how I am.
Wow.
So like I was very surprised that he even knew who I was, or that he remembered who I was. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the PWU stuff, and the Acid Cup was more because of my relationship with Brett
Nice.
Lauderdale and Danny D'Amato. Like
Yeah.
Danny was one of the founders of GCW,
Yeah.
JCW, and me and him started together in JAP. We were both like on that same, you wrestled dark matches worldwide,
Yeah.
and then kind of made your way onto the show. So we always had that kind of bond where we were building at the
Working
same
up together.
time.
Yeah.
So he always, seemed, I guess, like he was looking out for me with JCW and GCW. And then when Danny left, Brett actually kept using me, which I was surprised by because I don't think anyone really knows if Brett likes them or not.
Yeah. Okay.
So deadpan,
Yeah.
you know.
When you look at your career, I'm curious for your experience. How does your Super 8 happen? And yours is the COVID year, right?
The year after,
Okay.
I think it was 20.
It was the 24th annual, so like 2020, 21?
I think it was 2020.
Okay.
I think it got pushed back though, right? Because it was supposed to be
Yours is the Avery Good year, right? He wins it.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
it was September. It was September of 2020, I think, because
Okay.
or 2020, 2020.
Okay.
No,
Might be one or two.
I think it's 2021
Okay.
because it might have been COVID year because I remember during COVID is when I got like back into really good shape because,
Okay.
COVID. So I didn't have
Yeah.
anything to do but work out and get in shape. So, but yeah, it was awesome. The Super 8, especially someone who started it as early as I did, the Super 8 has always been
The tournament.
but it's always been the benchmark for
Yeah.
guys who are top of their game, and
Yeah.
I think it's definitely different now. It's not as
Yeah.
stacked as it was back then. You go back and you look at some of these early ones, and it's like, how do you get these 8 guys to be?
Yeah.
This is crazy. But those were the guys that were around all the time on indie shows.
Yeah.
Like the first indie show I ever did was well, the first JCW show I ever did was November of 2001, and Reckless Youth is on it,
Yeah.
and like all these guys, and you're just like, man, I was in the locker room with them when I was 16 years old. Like, it's crazy
Yeah.
to think about. But yeah, the Super 8 was definitely something I always wanted to do. So I was excited when they messaged me, and I think the guy who runs ECWA now, who was the World One owner,
Yeah.
knew a lot about my early days. So I think he's been around for a very long time as well.
Nice. How does the idea come for you to team with Steve Scott?
So that's a TJ Marconi.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's a TJ. I mean, we never even teamed together.
Okay.
We were,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
we were supposed to. We
Yeah.
booked for it, and then
Yeah.
I couldn't make the show. So we wrestled each other
Hmm.
at JCW, and we did a spot where actually we did team together in SWF.
Okay.
So we did one match together in SWF,
Yeah.
and it was against Jordan Oliver. So Steve had the idea of, this is all Steve's idea, of him having his cell phone and me having a Kodak, like rechargeable disposable
Yeah.
camera. So our team name became Kodak iPhone, because when we wrestled Jordan, he was doing the whole young dumb,
Yeah.
young dumb. So then I said Kodak, and then everyone jumped in. It was really funny. And then that's when we decided that it would be fun to do it together. And then TJ Marconi was going to bring that group back. And then again, I couldn't make the show, so we never reformed our group.
Yeah.
But Steve Scott is, to go along with Jordan Oliver, I would put Steve up there as like one of the most amazing people that I met through wrestling.
Nice. There's got to be one or two Grim Reefer stories that stick out to you.
I mean, Reefer has been my most frequent opponent.
Okay.
So I've wrestled Reefer more than anyone else in my career, which is crazy to think about because I haven't wrestled Reefer in 10 years.
Wow.
15 years. But he's it's sad to say that the name, I think, has held him back for a very long time.
Mhm.
If he had any other name, he probably would have gone a little bit further.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that he stuck to what he wanted to do and what he wanted to believe. That's who he wanted to be. That's who he was. We had a pretty good friendship. We talked a lot on the phone. We were pretty good friends. And then just like anything, we kind of fade away when you don't wrestle anymore. But matches wise, he was one of the first guys to ever really give me the opportunity to showcase what I was doing, because that very first JAP Worldwide taping, I did a squash match with Havoc, and then they filmed like 2 or 3 more episodes. And then like episode 4, I had a match with Reefer, and it was supposed to be a squash. But he gave me a lot of offense, and it was kind of like one of those things where he didn't really have to do that.
Yeah.
He did it anyway.
Yeah.
He also used to do this top rope DDT where he would springboard to the top, grab the guy, and DDT him off.
Yeah.
And so Reefer would always be the guy who'd be like, yo, Mo, I love the way you take that DDT, bro. You gotta do that. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
So that's we would do that, and then he always talked about the way that I took his crossface. We would do this and yeah, so like another one of those guys that you're just smooth in the ring,
Mm,
unbelievable chemistry with him.
yeah.
Like hated wrestling him sometimes because he hit so hard, but
Yeah.
but loved the way that things came off.
Nice.
He did this spin kick that hit you right in the face every time.
Yeah.
Left arm line, it crushed you, and then he would do this. Oh my god, this hurt so bad. He would give you a suplex
Hmm.
from the ring onto the apron and hang you up with a neck breaker on the top rope.
Yeah. Okay.
It sucked, like it hurt.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He was like, "All right, well, come on, it's my offense."
I think you were team with Grim Reefer. I could be wrong. Is there anything stands out specific match? You wrestling the SAT and All Money is Legal NWA Cyberspace TLC tag match?
So we did. So it was supposed to be Reefer and Red were a tag team in
Okay.
cyberspace, right?
Yeah.
Reefer got hurt, so
Okay.
I started tagging with Red. So
Yeah.
I tagged with Red twice. We wrestled SAT and then we wrestled All Money is Legal.
Okay.
Then we had this feud where all three tag teams kind of brawled, blah blah blah, sets up the TLC match. Red gets hurt, hurts his knee.
Okay.
So Reefer now replaces Red, and then I'm teaming with Reefer.
Yeah.
So it was me and Reefer. The match ends with a heel turn. Reefer pushes me off the ladder, and
Okay.
then we feuded in cyberspace, which again one of my favorite matches was with him. But that match was nuts. It was bananas. Like
Yeah.
being in the locker room with the SAT and calling a TLC matches because they're just like they get so amped up about yo we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that. Like it's just crazy. And they're so giving. I've heard a lot of stories about them from people who don't know them
Hmm.
that have said like, oh, they're selfish, they're all about themselves. Like I have been around them so many times. We hung out. I used to drive to their houses and pick them up. Like I used to talk to them, and they were the nicest dudes, like
Nice.
the greatest. So there's definitely people in this business that often get a reputation for being about themselves, and
Mm.
for some reason they had gotten that reputation.
Yeah.
But I honestly can't say anything but nice things about. They're just the greatest dudes, and they
Nice.
were always the greatest dudes.
Yeah. When you look at your career now, I was curious. I was talking to Dave Sturchio. I absolutely marked out when you got announced for the Battle Royal. But I'm curious, how did Fight Factory Wrestling come to be? And how was
Uh,
that match? Because it's a Battle Royal, but it had its own unique spin on it.
right. So the match itself was 10 guys start in the ring, and then every 30 seconds guy comes out, and then or girl because
Yeah.
tag is up. But it was a cool experience because I haven't wrestled in 3 years, so to just be there in general and be around it again was
Yeah.
fun. Again, like I told you, the creativity part, being able to be around the people, coming up with ideas, like that was amazing.
Yeah.
But me and Dave have kept in contact for a very long time.
Nice.
Dave likes to tell people I'm the reason why he got into professional wrestling.
Wow.
So there was a Raw at MSG,
Hmm.
and I was on the train to New York City, and I heard people talking about wrestling behind me. And I turned around to like look, and one of the kids, like a little kid that was in the group with Dave, said, "Hey, I think I know you. I saw you at like a show or whatever." So he recognized
Yeah.
not Dave, like the little kid.
Everybody, yeah.
So then I came back and I started talking to them, and Dave was like, "Of course, yo, bro, I gotta be a wrestler. Like, tell me how to do it."
Yeah.
I gave him some advice. I said, "Hey, like, where do you live? What do you do?" And I
Yeah.
pointed him in the direction of going to the Wrestle Pro school.
Wow.
And he eventually, did it, and
Yeah.
that's where he went, and he, but he was also a regular at this bar in Woodbridge that my future wife was bartending at.
Nice.
So I had seen him
Yeah.
after that, like, oh, hey, you're the guy from the train. Like we met like and talked a few times. So I've known Dave since before he was a wrestler.
Wow.
And then I've been along for his entire journey of, training, wrestling, injury, trying to come back, commentator, ringing out. So
Yeah.
I've seen Dave before he was Dave Destruction. I knew Dave,
Yeah.
So it's been cool to watch him. So I think he has some sort of, soft spot for me, and he
Nice.
probably thinks way higher than I deserve of myself. So I think he threw me a bone and was like, "Hey man, come wrestle on the show."
You're a legend, bro. I don't get it.
I'm not a legend. I'm not.
When we talk about your career, I'm curious. You talk about Fight Factory. It's been like 2, 3 years since you had a last match.
Yep.
Respect. Did you end up wrestling at that show or no?
I did not. So at this stage of my career, and or lack thereof career, uh it's very rare that I can put myself or find myself in a position where all the stars align and I can actually do it.
Mm,
And it just so happened where things changed. It wasn't something that I was able to do. And
yeah,
I mean, but Ray is such a sweet dude,
yeah,
and like his vision for wrestling is very similar to mine about why he's doing it and why he's involved. So nothing but the best for him. I hope he has all the success in the world, and I honestly hope that one day I'm able to wrestle on one of his shows. So
yeah. So when you talk to creativity, what is the mindset and the idea behind Constant Pro Wrestling?
so constant pro wrestling came out of the idea of the quest. I don't know if you saw or heard of the quest.
Yeah.
So I created with TJ Blade, we created what is called the quest, which was 6 guys, 2 3-man pods,
Mhm.
and we kind of rated that. We gave them a rating based on their performance in the ring.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about wins and losses. It's about, how much you control the action. So we tried to make it more realistic with like a sports science
Yeah, I
feel.
like it. Yeah, you don't see that often.
You don't at all. And that's where I
Yeah.
got the idea. I'm a really big hockey fan.
Okay.
And, I listen to hockey podcasts and they talk about like these advanced analytics, like their possession numbers and the Corsi numbers and, like all these, the war, like wins above replacement, like all
Yeah.
these stats that give you so like even if the guy's not performing at his best where he's scoring a lot of goals, he's still performing well for your team.
Yeah.
Right. So similar to wrestling, you don't always win the matches, but you could still perform at a high level. So
Okay.
I developed a rating system to like kind of do that. So we, over the course of 2.5 years, filmed this like episodic show.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got the bug for wanting to continue it. And we had the opportunity. I knew some people in the town that I grew up in that were looking for a fundraiser.
Hmm.
So constant comes from I'm a big fan of the television show Lost.
Okay.
And at one point in the show, a guy is back and forth between timelines where
Mhm.
he can't figure out how to ground himself.
Yeah.
And he said the people that you love or the people that you can hold on to, that's your constant, that will ground you. And for me, my entire life, wrestling has always been like my constant.
Yeah.
So, that's why I kind of wanted to choose that name. And that's where it came from. But then, like the best way I can explain why or my like promoting style or like my booking style
Yeah.
is kind of like, all right, so you've been invited to birthday parties, right?
Yeah.
You go there and it's always someone else's group of friends.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, like you just are a member of that group where it's like, oh, well, I kind of know this guy. I kind of know that
You
guy.
know the birthday boy. That's it, pretty much.
Right. But when it's your birthday party, it's all your friends.
Okay.
Right. So for me, I wanted to create something where I could surround myself with the people that I love and believe in the most.
Nice.
And that's why I created Constant. And
Yeah.
that's why me and TJ, book the way we do. And that's why we, ask the people that we do to be a part of it. Cause it's a mixture of, friends that we have, but
Yeah.
also, friends that we believe maybe never got a good shot somewhere else or just people we believe in and that we think can create great things.
Yeah. Do you have any goals nowadays with Constant or pro wrestling in general for you? Legendary career. Is there anything else you want to do in wrestling?
Not really. I mean,
No.
I think as long as I'm able to continue to run Constant
Yeah.
and enjoy doing it, I would say my goal is to just continue doing that, like having fun with it.
Yeah.
The minute that it stops being fun is the minute I'm going to stop doing it. So my goal, honestly, is to have as much fun as I possibly can, and surround myself and create good stories and create good wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, marking out for you in college is unreal that you said yes. So thank you for doing this. However, I've ended every interview the same now. The day you decide it's all done, which isn't happening anytime soon, but the day you decide it's all done, what do you want your legacy in pro wrestling to be?
So I think we talked about it a little bit. I don't honestly. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to believe that their art was good. Something that they created was good. But I really just want to have people remember me as a good person above everything else. You know what I mean? Like, wrestling is filled with so many stories of people out for themselves and a cutthroat business, and it's all about competition. And to me, I just want the people that mean the most to me to know that I did things the right way and I did them for the right reasons.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.